One of the many things I love about statues is the nostalgia they offer. They truly bring your childhood to life. And that is especially true with this Shredder from PCS. So this is from the animated Turtle series from the 80s and 90s, which I grew up watching Saturday mornings and I absolutely loved. And while Turtles were founded in the comic books, that's where I first identified them from. And of course the comics after, and the 90s movie, which recently I watched, and let's be honest, it still holds up. But now I'm diving back into watching the animated series on Apple TV, and I've identified two crazy things. Number one, I totally forgot that the voice of Shredder is played by none other than Uncle Phil, which just is crazy to me because I think he has such a badass voice until you make that connection and then you can't get it out of your head. Number two, as I'm watching these episodes with my family, I'm the only one interested. Does that mean I'm more immature than my kids? Come on, we know that's not really a question. We know what the answer is. As the Extreme channel is pushing towards 50,000 subscribers, these are just a few of the statues we are giving away on the journey there. If you want to know how to win one, stay tuned for later in the video. Hey, thanks for tuning into the Extreme channel. My name is Mr. X. Today we're looking at a quarter scale PCS statue of the Shredder. As I said in the intro, it's from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the animated series, and I am so excited to have this. Now, if you're a follower of the channel, you know that I started going down this rabbit hole after I visited another collector's house. I first bought this Ronin piece right here. Now, while that's not from the same storyline, that's from a recent comic book, I then grabbed the Rocksteady, this piece right here. And Sideshow, the distributor for this company, threw this piece up on sale, 10% off, so I decided to grab it. Now, I wasn't super excited. As a disclaimer, I thought this was going to be the worst of the line. Now, I don't have the entire line yet. I actually have some I still need to unbox over there. But I am really impressed with these. You know, PCS, the last 2 years or so, have become more and more impressive. Now, with that being said, what I really love about this, we're going to talk about it during the review, is this is almost identical to what he looked like on screen. It's like they brought it to life. Where I didn't see that in the Rocksteady piece. I saw more of a tiny twist of a modern interpretation. But let's dive into the review of the piece that I thought would be my least favorite, but hell, could be my favorite. That's of the animated series line. I'm still on the lookout for some of them, and I hope they continue the line. I really would love a Baxter Stockman. I would love a Casey Jones. Those would be day one orders for me. So here we have Shredder, and what I love is they tied it all into the animated series. Now on the bottom of this, we'll talk more about paint and sculpt later, but it is the Technodrome. So this is the big vehicle, or part of the big vehicle that he drove around, and he had all the advanced technology. The storyline's a little different than the movies, where he actually created the turtles. Rokosaki actually chased Master Yoshi, who ended up turning into the rat, to America. They even have a destroyed Mouser on the back, a little bit of an Easter egg, which we'll talk about more in design. And Shredder's in a decently dynamic semi-museum pose up top. His cape is flowing in the wind. Like I said, his outfit matches exactly what we saw in the animated series. He's very buff, he's spread out, he's ready to fight. Sword in one hand, his classic blades on both of the hands, and there are some switch out options we're going to look at. I like this a lot. Like I said, it's almost like they took the 2D render and made it 3D, and then I think what they did with the base is pretty cool as well. I think the concept is a 100% 5 out of 5. I'm really impressed. Design, I wouldn't say there's issues, but there's things that I question a little bit, so we'll talk about those after the unboxing and assembly. The box was massively big. I did not expect that at all. And because of that, shipping was about $90, which isn't too bad for how big the box was. Standard foam and straps. There was an art box, but I didn't even look at it. And it was one layer. They could have maybe saved some room by 2 layers. I don't know. Now, one thing with the unboxing is he has shit all over him. Not only styrofoam, but like literally like white dust. So I haven't got it all off. I left some of it on there so you guys can see it during the close-up video. And then I'll fully dust him before I put him in the display. If you want to see what he looks like in the display, check out the Extreme Channel social media. Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, all that shit is in the description of this video. So the dimensions on him, I said he's quarter scale. That means he's 4 times smaller than a real life version. So he's 15 inches wide. Obviously, this is not the entire Technodrome. The entire Technodrome is huge. It's kind of like the Epcot ball at Disney. He is about 9 inches deep. And with the sword, we'll measure him with and without the sword. Because the sword is about 25 inches and he's about 23 without. The reason I say that is there are some switch out options. So the regular version doesn't have these, but the exclusive, what I have, has the switch out options. First, the right hand is his hand in a fist. This is with all the different versions, but the exclusive version has the communicator where he can talk to Crane. This looks really stupid. So I put it back in the box. It's just a decal and the picture is not good. The left hand, he can have a fist. Or he can have a sword. Obviously, I'm displaying the sword because swords are cooler. That's all the switch out options. One thing though, I love the Easter egg of the mouser in the back, the robot in the back. It's in the back. That is such a shame. They should have flipped this. They should have had him facing the other way. I think that would have been 10 times cooler. So for that reason, I think that's a huge opportunity they missed out on. And then again, the shit all over him. I've already started wiping some of it off, but you'll see a lot of it, and then there's almost like leaching on the back of the cape here. So definitely some design issues. So I would speculate the shit all over him and the leaching is my statue only, but that's what I'm grading right now. So I give the design a 3 out of 5. I'm not impressed, and those are definitely things that, thankfully, because my wife knows how to paint, we can fix some of this stuff. I'm not one of those people that finds a few imperfections on a mass-produced statue and demands all your money back. This is stuff we can deal with and we can handle. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with people that do that. There is. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to get in the debate with a lot of people. I mean, if you pay hundreds of dollars for something, there's some minor imperfections, and you want a statue exchange, I think that's okay. Some people want to keep the statue and also want a big refund because that's just scamming in my opinion. Let me get off my soapbox as we talk about the paint and sculpt. Now, as we talk about it, keep in mind, this is from a 2D animated film that they've blown up into a 3D statue. But for the most part, with one little exception, I think they did pretty good. Now, as a reminder, you're going to see shit on him. A lot of it I already got off, believe it or not, and you'll still be surprised how much is left. So as I see those, I'll kind of point them out. You can kind of see stuff still all over. And it's not just the foam. But I want to start with the weakest part, which is the mud on the base. This is very weak in my opinion. I think a lot of it is the lack of detail they wanted in the mud. I like how there's pieces of the Technodrome falling off. But I think they chose a shit color, both figuratively and literally. While it's hard to make mud and dirt, I'm just not a fan. But again, I like how they have things embedded in the dirt and the dirt embedded in the wheels. Here's the mouser, looks absolutely fantastic. Again, these were, if you're unfamiliar, these are little robot stooges that Shredder actually sent out. Like I said, he was a big technological guy. The Technodrome itself looks really cool, little more animated than the Shredder himself and even the mouser robot. Then the top of it, I like how they converted it into a simple base. I think, so the Technodrome, if you haven't seen it, it is very similar to the ball at Epcot. It has kind of like these compartmentalized sections. I don't know if it was stolen from that idea or vice versa, but it looks good. I think it flows well with the statue and the theme. Now, as we get on him, we're going to see that shit everywhere. I mean, there's powder, there's, and like I said, I already got off quite a bit of it. There's some more right there. There's some more foam. There's some leakage right here. It looks like some seepage from the paint right here and here. So definitely some issues that, again, I'll have to fix. And I think those are with my specific statues, so I'm not harping on them too much. You see some back here as well. Could be water damage, so we'll figure that out later. But moving on to Shredder, he's obviously the star of the show, and I think they did an amazing job with him. I really like his anatomy. It's very accurate, I think. And when I say accurate, I mean more for a real person than he was on the animated series. As you can imagine, there wasn't too much detail. But even like, look at the detail they threw into the folds of his clothing. And I really like the contrast. You have light gray, dark gray, black, purple. It all mixes really well. And while clearly all of the metal up here is painted polystone, I like the shine. I think that's the perfect shine to make it appear as real metal. I'm a fan of his skin tone as well. Just great job on the anatomy. The flow of the cape is really great too. Other those imperfections and the stuff that I can fix, it's pretty impressive. Portrait looks great. I like how they gave him a menacing smile. You know, I remember this is way before COVID. They would talk to actors who had to wear masks for their role, whatever that was. And they would say it's so hard to express emotion because the mouth plays such a vital role in communicating facial features to people. And we discovered that with the issues masks created with social interaction during COVID. But they did a great job. He still looks evil and badass. While the eyes are decals, that's what I would expect. And I think the eyebrows are too formed together. It's probably true to the animated series. So even though I think they went a little above and beyond for the anatomy and sculpt of his body, I'm not going to bash them that they didn't do that in the other pieces. Because like I said, this truly looks like it came off the screen I was watching the other day. I think that's absolutely incredible, but it still has a hint of realism to it, so it looks good with all these other statues that have more of a realistic feel. But yeah, I'm a fan of both. I think they could have done some stuff better with the paint. Sculpt's really, really good though. And here's the sword handle, by the way. We didn't really closely look at that. Kind of give you an idea. I'm going to start with the sculpt. Other than the bottom part of the base, I think it's really good. I love the anatomy on Shredder. I like the little details in his costume that really show that motion to it. So I'm going to give the sculpt a 5 out of 5. I am really impressed. I think they did a great job, especially knowing what their goal was. Paint, not as good as we talked about in some of the things, but I think they stayed pretty true to the film. And I think the skin tone is great. Some of those imperfections kind of bug me a little. So I'm just going to give the paint a 3 out of 5. I could argue a 4 out of 5, but I think I'm already dick riding the statue too much, and that's very dangerous when you're dick riding a guy named Shredder. So is this guy worth it? What kind of value does he have? Now, if you get in the Turtles animated series, he's kind of a necessity. I mean, he's the main antagonist. So with that being said, they made 800 of these. 500 have just the fists with the hands, where the other 300 have the exclusive switch outs that I showed. And he retailed right around $600, $630. Now, I got him 10% off. Shipping was quite a bit because you saw how big that box was, which was crazy. But you're almost $800 all in on a normal day for this guy. That's a lot for a quarter scale statue, depending on what company you look at. You know, PCS used to sell their quarter scales I talked about in the Rocksteady video for like $350 each. But now you can find quarter scale statues for $1,500 and on up too. So I think the value's fine. The fact that he's still been available on Sideshow and they had to discount it is a big leading indicator. So I think it's a 3 out of 5. It's interesting that the majority of the turtles are hard to find. It's interesting that Bebop is sold out, but all the rest of the characters are available, including Leonardo. Now, does he have the X Factor? You know, he's not a 5 out of 5 statue. I like him a lot more than I thought I would, which is fantastic because the next one I'm going to open is Krang, which I think is going to be one of my favorites. So make sure you've not only liked this video, but you sub to the channel and hit that bell notification if you want to see that. That video will launch very soon. But I'm still going to give him a 4 out of 5. I think when you consider what they were trying to accomplish, let's take the animated TV series and make the perfect statue based off that. Well, I wouldn't say it's perfect. I would say it's pretty damn good, and they definitely accomplished it. So props to PCS, 4 out of 5 statue. Love it. So I'd love to interact with you guys, and that's why we do comments for a giveaway. So throw down in the comments below, did you watch the animated series growing up? I might be dating myself here, and I don't mean, like going out and buying myself dinner, but We will be giving all of these statues away, plus additional ones at every 5,000 subscriber milestone. To win one of these statues, all you have to do is make sure you've liked this video, you've subscribed to the channel, you've hit that bell notification, and then just drop a comment below. Every 5,000 subscriber milestone, we are going to do a random drawing and pick a random comment and give one of these statues away, plus some additional ones I'm not showing right now. The more videos you comment on, the higher your chances are to win. Hey, I really appreciate you guys every single time. You guys know I enjoy doing this. It's fun for me. Well, yeah, getting tons of awesome statues is definitely fun. But hit that like button for Roko Saki here, and I will see you soon. Soon in your bushes outside your house. Take care.